Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Spring Tales Episode 5 from We Creatives. This week we are celebrating International Children's Book Day and Hans Christian Andersen's birthday with his tale of the peas blossom. You might know this story, I didn't, but it's a beautiful one about 5 little peas on an adventure and a little girl who doesn't feel very well. Remember to stick around after the story though, because Ailish will be here teaching us how to make our very own peas pear game, which is tricky to say, but a lot of fun to do, so I highly recommend you give this one a go. But for now, let me entertain you with the story of the peas blossom, adapted from Hans Christian Andersen's tale. Once upon a time, there were 5 peas in a pod. They were green, their pod was green, so they thought the whole world must be green. They grew a little more every day, and as they did so, lined themselves up from smallest to biggest, all tucked in next to one another. Day by day they wondered what was out there for them, beyond these green walls, what adventures might await. "Are we to sit here forever?" asked the littlest pea. "I'm sure there must be a way out of this pod and into the big, wide world." "What will be," said the biggest pea. And the days wore on, and the peas and the pods turned yellow and dry in the sun. But that was a good thing, because it meant they were ready to be picked and for the adventures to begin. "Now we will surely soon be let out," said another pea. "I would like us to know which one of us will travel the furthest and have the biggest adventures," said the littlest pea. "We will just have to wait and see," said the largest pea, as he always did. And then one day, when they least expected it, snap! The pod was picked, and out the 5 peas rolled into the bright sunshine and the big, wide world. A little boy had picked this pod and was choosing to use the peas in his pea shooter. Now, you guys might not know what a pea shooter is. It's kind of like a little contraption made from a tube like a straw where you pop the peas in and fire them around. We're not going to do that as our craft this week, but ask your parents about one. And this was perfect for the peas, because it meant they got to fly far and wide and live out their dreams of adventure. The little boy was holding them tight and decided to pick one by one to load up into his pea shooter. "Now I am going to fly out into the world," said the littlest pea. "Catch me if you can, you'll never find me." And he was popped in the tube and blown off far, far away to a field further than the little boy could see. "I think I will fly straight to the sun," said the next pea. "What fun this will be!" And popped into the shooter they were, and off over the hill and up into the bright, sunny sky. "We will go to sleep wherever we find ourselves," said the next 2 peas, "as long as it's warm, damp, and comfy." And sure enough, they were popped in together into the shooter and whoop, off into the sky over the other side of the river. The last pea was the biggest pea, and as always he said, "What will be, we'll just have to see." And he was popped into the little boy's pea shooter and shot whoop, up over the hill, over the river, over the wall, and landed in a little house on the uppermost windowsill, where he was caught by a tiny nook covered in moss. "Well, what will be," he thought. "I found myself a perfect spot," and he nestled down into the green moss. Now that house had a woman living in it with a little girl, her daughter, who had not been well for almost a whole year. She had stayed in her bed with the window closed, the curtains drawn in the dark. But on this day, the sun was shining, and the mother opened the windows to let a little bit of light in, when the daughter exclaimed, "Oh, Mother, look! What's that at the windowsill?" A tiny green pea shoot had shot out of our pea. The mother couldn't believe it. What's a pea doing all the way up here on this windowsill ledge? What a funny place to be. "Please, can we keep it?" said the daughter. "Please, I want to watch it grow." And the mother said, "Well, I suppose so, but I don't know how long it will last up here. The wind and the rain and the birds, anything could get it." But the daughter was adamant. So the mother helped the daughter move her bed from one side of the room right next to the window where she could watch this little pea grow. That night, the daughter sat up and said, "I'm feeling so much better already. The sun has shone brightly in here all day, and the little pea is growing so fast that I have only hope for what this journey will bring." Day by day, the girl checked on the pea, and in a week's time, she took a little stick and propped it next to where the leaf was growing to help it stand up in case winds came along and blew it away. A few days later, she tied string along the side of the wall just outside the window so that the pea shoots knew where to grow. And sure enough, the wind and the rain came and blew at the pea, but it stayed strong. "What will be, she thought. And after 30 days, she couldn't believe her eyes. The beautiful pea had sprouted leaves and a stem, and on one particularly beautiful bright day, a pea blossom bloomed, a bright pink flower. She couldn't believe her luck. She had her own garden right there on the windowsill with this beautiful flower sitting amongst the moss. The mother came into the bedroom and helped the girl sit up, bend through the window, and give the flower a little kiss. She then turned to her daughter and said, "I think we are incredibly lucky to have found this little pea. Look at all the joy it has brought to you and me." And the daughter said, "Yes, Mummy, I'm feeling so much better. It has been a whole month of wind on my face, sun in the sky, air in the room, and I feel ready enough to go outside and try." And so that's the story of the 5 peas and the pea blossom that brought joy to a family. But what happened to the other peas, you might say? Well, the littlest pea, as we did say, flew over to a field where he rolled around and rolled around and rolled around before being eaten by a pigeon. The second littlest pea landed over a wall where it grew nice and tall with the bricks to support it. The 2 middle peas landed by the river and they settled down just as they said they would and went to sleep. But it was the big pea that brought the most joy to that family. Isn't that a brilliant story? How 5 little things can change the world. Stick around next because Ailish is here to show us how to make our very own peas pair game that you can play at any time you please. And I'll see you next week. Thanks.
Thank you, Kat, and hi everyone, it's time for today's craft. Today we're going to make our very own game that we can play at home. So this is going to be a game of pairs and we're going to make all the parts of it ourselves, and it's going to be a game of pairs using the peas from the story. So time to get started. So here are the things you'll need to make this pairs game. I've got a piece of green and a piece of yellow card, but if you don't have coloured card or paper, you could just use white card that you decorate, or some old cardboard box that you colour in or paint. I've got a pencil for drawing, I've got a marker pen for drawing faces, which we'll come on to a little bit later, some scissors, and then you'll need something round to draw around, so something that is a circle shape. I've just got a glass jar here, but you could use a glass, or if you have a cookie cutter, something like that. Because you're choosing your own object to draw around, you can decide the size that your peas are going to be. But it's important that you use the same object for all of your different peas. Okay? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw around our circular object with our pencil onto the card or paper. I'm going to do 5 yellow peas and 5 green peas, because that's the number of peas that were in our story. But you can choose what you like. So you just want to draw around your object to make the number of circles that you want. And once you've done that, can you cut those out? Can you imagine that you're going to play the game of pairs and you're going to need 1 green and 1 yellow to look exactly the same? I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to start with this green one, and I'm going to draw, I think, a smiley face on this one. So I've got my eyes, my nose, and a big smile. There we go. You see that? So that's going to be my smiley face, and I'm going to go over that in black pen. But I need a yellow pea to have the exact same face. So I'm going to copy that across. You can take a bit more time with colouring in, with designing, thinking about different faces that you can do. This is just quickly to show you. So there we have a yellow pea and a green pea that have the same faces on them. I wonder what other facial expressions you can think of. Maybe you want to do one that's super happy, one that's sad, one that's tired or sleepy, one that's excited, one that is angry or surprised. I think you can probably think of lots of different ones to do, but the main thing to remember is that you do 5 different ones. All of your green ones will be different from the other green ones, but all of your yellow ones will have a partner that is green. Once you have drawn on all of your different faces, your peas are ready to play with. But before we do that, I need to see that you can practice making these faces with your own face. So can you do a big smiley happy face? Can you do a sad face and pretend to cry? Can you yawn and pretend to go to sleep? Close your eyes. Can you do an even bigger smile than you did the first time? And lastly, can you stick out your tongue and make quite a funny face? Good. All right, now we are ready to play. So can you turn all of these over? And then you need to muddle them up. First things first, I need to pick a yellow one. I have got a big, smiley, happy yellow face. I now need to pick a green pea that I hope has the same face. I'm going to go for this one. No, that's the sleeping green one. So turn them over and try again. I'm going to go for this yellow one this time. Oh, that's the sleeping face. I think I remember from last turn that this green one is the sleeping one. Let's have a look. And it is, so these two have the same face, don't they? We have 2 matching peas. So I get to keep that pair and the game carries on. Keep going until you've matched up all of your peas. And if you think of some other faces that you could make, then you can have a go of doing that too. And once you've played your game of pairs, you're finished. Well done. But the great thing is you can use this game again and again, and you can also keep adding to it. I wonder how many expressions and faces you can think of to add. So I hope you've had a lot of fun with our story and with our game and craft at home. In fact, I hope your smiles are as big as this little pea. We'll see you next time for another Spring Tale. Bye.